What's up, my pilots? Angryponcho here, and we're playing some Minecraft. Can you guess where I am? That's right, underwater. This is one of the many ways that there are to build things underwater in Minecraft. That's a reed room. I don't know if there's actually a name for it or not, but that's what I call them. Anyway, basically, in this video, I want to show off several different strategies for building underwater structures. So here's my 1.8.1 world. I've just updated to 0.1 finally. I had to download a new launcher. I was still using the launcher from alpha. You know how the launcher has the updates listed on the screen? Like, oh, 1.8, we added this and this and this. Contact us on Twitter over here. Yeah, I was still using the one that just said username, password, login from back like 2010. So that fixed it. When I updated it, was like, oh, you want to log in? Okay, sure. Anyway, now that we're all up to date here, and we got the Poncho Pack working on 1.8, you can see my two mushroom houses over there. The only way to live in 1.8, the proper way. So I guess the first way that I want to show you guys to build underwater is with reeds. And that room down there is sort of a demonstration of what you want. So I've got my reed farm here. Just 20 stacks, sprouts. I don't know what these blocks are called, other than just blocks. So let me show you some interesting things about reeds. The first is that reeds will only grow on the cliff sides, is what they're sort of referred to. So if I try and plant reeds here, I can't. I can't plant them here, but here, I can. Why did the music get quieter all of a sudden? Does it usually do that? Anyway, the point is, the reason that they'll grow there is because the block next to them is empty, or is water, rather. So this space here needs to be there. So basically, that applies even underwater. And I didn't realize this until just a couple of weeks ago. I saw this on the Minecraft subreddit. But basically, now with 1.8, reeds will grow on grass, dirt, or sand, and they will even plant underwater. I don't know if they did this in previous updates, but they do now. So here I have a reed room. And we know another property of reeds is that they stop the flow of water. So let me see if I can demonstrate this in its shallows up here. Yes, here we go. So here's an area where you see underwater there's a cliff here. There's a side that the reeds can be planted here. And you see when I plant them, they clear away the water from the area in which they are. So this isn't really an amazing thing for most blocks. If I were to put dirt here, it would replace the water. That's pretty normal. But the thing is, reeds are, I guess they're called transparent blocks. They're sort of like torches where you can walk through the square that they occupy. So you see, if I try and put a torch here, it'll stick for a second, and then the water washes it away. So you can see, water does not like being in the same place as transparent blocks, but some blocks it can wash away. So let's try a pane of glass. Pane of glass also will keep the water out, but we can't walk through panes of glass. So reeds are the best way to do this. So you see, as soon as I remove them, the water flows right back in. No big deal. Alright, so now how can we use this to build underwater? Well, it's fairly easy. You just need to start small. And the first thing I would say is build a little 3x3 area that you want to build on top of. Let's see, I'm kind of taking some air here. Maybe we should build in the bit shallower water just to make things easier on ourselves. Yeah, here we go. How about right over here? Well, actually, I do want to demonstrate that this is actually a practical way to build. There's a good spot down there, I see. This is a good way to build deep underwater structures as well. Because if I get down to the bottom and it's like, crap, oh god, I'm going to run out of air, put down some reeds. And then I can walk into the square where the reeds are, and I can get some air. So you can, if you want to just go exploring underwater, just bring a couple, at least 2 reeds with you, and all you have to do is find a little area like this where you can plant reeds on a cliff face. As you can see, they have a cliff next to them. It has to be on at least one side. See, now here I have some reeds growing down here. Now if I wanted to expand this, I would need to make the cliff face expand as well. So if I put, let's see, 1, 2, 3 there, now I can plant reeds on this. And my reed room is starting to grow already. Now I like to actually make it 3 reeds high. It turns out you can actually just keep stacking them. So if you wanted to, you could make sort of an elevator Oh, don't fall too far, because you see this is a column of air where the reeds are, all the way up to the surface. And so if I swim into this, it's a shortcut down to the bottom, because you just fall, because it's just air there. As long as you move over and get into the water, it'll slow you down. Of course, if you wanted to come back down, just break the bottom one. They all come falling down. How easy. So I want to go ahead and expand this reed room here to be a 3x3, because that's the minimum size you need to be able to put a torch down here. So I'm going to swim in and get some more air. Put a couple more sand blocks down. Now you can see something interesting happened there. I'm going to demonstrate it again. Let me break this sand block. Oh, let me get some air too. Ugh. Wish I had like a diving helmet or something. There are some mods that do that. That might be helpful. But basically, alright, so I'm going to put a reed here. You see there's a cliff face. Now putting the sand here removes the cliff face, but it doesn't update the reed blocks so that they pop off. The game's fine with them staying there until I plant reeds on the cliff. Then you can see the reed blocks that it touches disappear. It's fine for these edge guys when I plant next to them, because as you can see, they still have a cliff face on at least one side. So now I need a block to put here. Let's get some dirt. I'm going to need a couple of these, so I'm just going to grab a couple. And basically what I want to do is, as you can see, I now have a circle of reeds with a column of water in the middle. I want to put a block of dirt on the top of that column. And now I have air. And I can place a torch in here. And that's the basics of underwater building with reeds. So if you wanted to, you could just build these little 3x3 cubes under the surface and use them as air checkpoints from place to place, as if you have a large underwater dwelling that you want to build or a big underwater project. This is a great way to just bring down some air with you. Now in terms of building large structures, a lot of times there's problems underwater, and you can continue to expand that by just putting blocks on one side of the square, planting the reeds, expanding the dirt ceiling. And you can see I've done this one up to a 5x5, so it has a 3x3 space in the middle. So you can see it's got more room. You actually could start digging a mine shaft down here if you wanted to. That's a good way to shield your mine shafts if you happen to pop out underwater. Now this room, this is sort of my diving entrance to my house, and this is the first time I've ever done this. I really like the idea. And the way that the physics work in Minecraft, the water doesn't come surging into your house like it actually would if you tried to do this. In real life, I mean. So basically, let me go outside so we can see this. Oh, what a beautiful sunrise. Yes, rise. Okay, good. So out here, you can see there's the room right here underwater. And you're probably thinking, okay, how did I build that? I didn't use reeds. There's no cliff faces. It's sort of hanging out into the water like this. Do you see what I mean? So there's no cliff face for me to build on there. Well, there's another way to build underwater, and this is how it was done before reeds were really used. And basically, let me get some blocks from one of my chests. I'm just going to go ahead and demonstrate a little bit of this. What's wrong with my texture pack? I thought I had this patched. I guess not. That's really weird. Okay, do I have dirt? Here, cobble works. Alright, so I got my iron pick, I got some cobble. Say I want to build a little underwater room. How about right over here? Just in this area. So I want to build a little 3x3 room. Okay. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the walls in. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to build a room the same size as that reed room down there. Just for comparison's sake. So I'm going to build all the way up to the height I want the room to be. So we'll go 3x3, and it just turns out that for this area, that's right to the surface, which is actually pretty handy. It can be a little bit more complicated if it's underwater farther. So I'm going to go ahead and dig out a little bit of a space in front of this so that we can enter it at floor level. Oh, all the clay down here. I really do like that in 1.8, more clay. Get some air. Alright. This is good for demonstration purposes, and this works way underwater as well. So you don't have to do this on the surface. I'm just doing it here so I can go up for air and demonstrate this. Really, if you wanted to, you could put a couple reeds down nearby underwater and just give yourself an air space like this, and then drop back in and keep working. But basically the strategy is like this. You want to place a layer of blocks at the top of the room. So if this were deep underwater, I would be building the ceiling here. Okay, so let's say the ceiling of the room is already in place. Now I swim in there and I place another layer of blocks underneath. Now this is interesting. Okay, so once those are there, now a room that was actually a little bit larger would be handy. So I'm going to make this room a little taller, just to demonstrate. I hate that you work slower underwater. I have no idea why that was put into the code, that your tools work more slowly underwater, but apparently that's what Notch thought would be a good idea. I don't know. I mean, I guess it makes sense if you're supposed to be working while you're holding your breath, but if anything, I'd be hurrying up if I was holding my breath. I don't know. Alright, so now we placed a layer of blocks under the ceiling. So I'm going to look straight up and get rid of a block between me and the ceiling. And when I swim up, there's an air pocket created here. I'm basically holding the space bar just to hold myself up on the top here. And now I can dig away this layer that I just placed near the ceiling. And I need to be careful because this is still underwater, and so really you'd want to do this with 4 walls, and I left one open over there. So I want to be careful not to bust it open. So you can see here, really if I wanted to expand this further, I would want to put more blocks out here. Just swim back in there so I can demonstrate this. Now when I get rid of these, water won't flow in because I put those dirt blocks to block it. And that's how you remove the top layer of water. So now you have a room that's essentially flooded but not underwater per se. And now you can, at whatever rate you please, place blocks into this room and then remove them. Because when you replace a block and then remove it, it destroys the source block that was there. So you can see that water was flowing water that I was in. And so now when I've placed that block down, the source block goes away. And as you can see, it sort of it's easier as you go. The bottom floor sort of clears itself once you get rid of the last source block down there. And now I have well, it's going to flood, isn't it? Or maybe not. That's weird. Why isn't that coming in? Maybe it's just because there's a drop out there. But yeah, and you can see now I have a 3x3 room down here. It's not as convenient as the reeds, because I can't just walk in and out of it through the walls like you could if it were made of reeds. But this is how you could build a large underground structure if you just really had some time. So I'm going to go ahead and you see that's going to flood the room again, but whatever. We're done with it. Just for demonstration purposes. So those are two ways to build things underwater. The layer by layer method, or you could use reeds and expand your reed area. There are other ways to create, and I'm going to show you guys the way that we used to create air pockets for ourselves prior to reeds being so handy underwater. And this is something I actually did when I built on, what room was it? It was a glass room underwater on World 5 back in the day. You guys probably don't even remember that. It was an alpha. But yeah, this is what we used to do back in alpha, if I remember this correctly. You build these sort of, let me see, these sort of overhang kind of things like this, and I don't know if I'm doing it exactly correctly, I don't really remember. And then you delete this one block here so it creates that air pocket for you. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I think I am doing it wrong. Let's see if I can remember this now. Now I know it looks something like this. Maybe, whoops, careful. Careful now. One more pass. Yes, there it is. Okay, so you can see it creates this tiny little air pocket in here. That's from where I deleted the block. So I basically put a block in there and then got rid of it. And it creates this really small air pocket. And that's not very convenient for you. But what you can do is, it's sucking me in, there's a current there. That's another thing. They're really annoying in terms of the currents that keep popping up. You can do this, place another block out there. Need to get some more air. And of course, building these was a pain because you had to keep going to the surface and back in order to keep getting more air for yourself. Really, I should have built it taller. You don't want to dig into the ground. And so now we have an air pocket that we've captured underwater, which really shouldn't work. There's no way to get air down here. It's just the way that Minecraft works is when you delete a block, it's replaced with air. And then if water is nearby, water fills it. So as you can see, that's how we used to put air pockets. Reeds much better. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I hope you guys learned something in this video. Putting this one out there because this is something I'd never really talked about. And I have this world here in 1.8 that I kind of like. I found these 2 islands here. And there's this big underwater zone right in between that small island there and the island here that I'm living on. So I'm thinking I'm going to build some kind of underwater dwelling or some tunnels or something going in between the two. Maybe a glass walkway underwater. I don't know. So I was thinking about underwater building and realized I never made a video on it. So there it is. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.